Hi everyone, welcome back to YouTube. This is Aaron. So do you want to retire financially free and not have to worry about money? Well, in order to do that, you really need to understand this one concept. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It only matters how much money you keep and how much money you grow. So my family is actually a perfect example of this. My grandparents came to this country in the late 70s, but they had spent their entire lives in Korea up until that point. My grandfather was chief of staff to the vice president at one point, so he was in politics. He was also in banking, super lucrative fields. And my mom remembers going to and from school being chauffeured around. Now keep in mind, this is in like the 60s when she was growing up, in a third world country, essentially. South Korea was a third world country back then, pretty much. So in the late 70s, they come to America with all of their wealth intact, super rich. But fast forward to today, right, in 2019, how are they doing? You know, they had millions to begin with 30 something years ago. How are they doing today? Well, they have $1,000 a month coming in from Social Security. They have Medicaid. They actually qualified for Medicaid. And that's it. And as soon as I discovered that, around my mid-20s, I was like, you know what? I really need to get this part of my life figured out, because my parents, my family, my grandparents, they didn't figure it out. You don't need to have a riches to rags story like my family did in order to actually see this in society today. If you look up any statistic on lottery winners and how most of them in 5 years are worse off than when they won the lottery, or if you look at the vast majority of professional athletes that clear a good 8 figures throughout their career, they should be set for life, but they're not. Most of them go broke very, very quickly. So it's not about how much you make, it's all about how much you're able to keep and grow. And by far the best way to start doing this is to start tracking where your money is going, tracking your spending, right? You can't improve what you can't measure. So what I do is at the end of the month, every month I have a reminder set on my phone, and that reminds me to check my spending for the month. Sometimes it's pretty and sometimes it really isn't, but you just got to face it, and hopefully that'll improve you for the next month, right? Because you actually know how you performed the last month. And then you categorize what the absolute essentials are versus what the optional spending is. Some of these apps will actually do a lot of the categorization for you, but it's easy to get overwhelmed with all of the data. So just track the amount of money that's going out of your accounts every month and worry about the categorization later, right? Baby steps first, right? Now, the other side of the coin is how much money you're actually able to grow, which is another way of saying how are your investments performing, right? What does your investment portfolio look like? But that's a topic for another video. It's a more in-depth conversation that also has its own share of apps and technological tools that can help you out. For now, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell as well, and stay tuned for more from YouTube.